Although it's in the rearview mirror now, 30 years back, it's still as clear as yesterday. The kind of thing that happens to somebody else, never to you. I was immune. Most people feel that way, until calamity strikes. And then it hit me, sudden and hard, the midlife crisis. As a hand-to-mouth artist, I'd spent my life driving down the freeway of life without another car in sight. Traffic in the other direction was bumper to bumper. It gave me a feeling of satisfaction. I was master of my fate, captain of my soul. My life was poetry. Surely I knew something they didn't. And then things changed. I began to think those people going the other way couldn't possibly all be wrong. Perhaps there was something over there. Just because it was unseen to me didn't mean it didn't exist. Perhaps just beyond the horizon was something wonderful. Something I was missing out on. I wanted it. I wanted it all. An office with a desk, a filing cabinet, a calendar on the wall, with my 2 weeks vacation circled in red. I wanted to walk down a hallway with a handful of papers, perhaps an unlit pipe in my mouth, and finger wave at co-workers. I wanted a job, a real job. I set right to work on my resume. Dropping out of high school wouldn't play well, so I moved right along to military service. The 2 years I spent in the Army was the longest I ever held a job. Perhaps my future employer wouldn't notice that I'd been drafted. Sticking to the task or going to the stockade were my only two options. Most of the skills I learned while in the Army didn't translate well to office work, or to civilized society in general. I would nail a post-apocalyptic job interview, but that wasn't the kind of work I was looking for. I'd seen Blade Runner 3 times, and there wasn't a Rolodex or a photo cube anywhere in it. After the Army there was a gap to be filled in, about 20 years worth of gap. I wrote an artist. The next 2 weeks were spent reading the want ads and sending out letters. Finally it happened, my first job interview. I strafed a thrift store for proper attire. Slacks, button-down shirt, conservative tie. There were limited choices in sports jackets in my size. Pinky Lee, Pee Wee Herman, and Navy. I went with Navy. The man to conduct the interview sat in a perfect office, behind a perfect desk. He had a filing cabinet, desk blotter, calendar on the wall. From the pocket of his button-down shirt, I could see the stem of a pipe. I was knocking on heaven's door. The interview was a short one. He glanced at my anemic resume, flipped it over. The back was blank. He shook his head. I began padding. In 3rd grade, I was line leader for a whole week. And in 10th grade, I was hall monitor. Well, alternate hall monitor. He showed the palm of his hand and then pointed to the exit. My heart sank. I was almost to the door when he called me up short and offered some advice. About that 20-year gap in your resume. You might want to put in that you spent that time in prison. A lot of people are willing to give a con a next chance, but nobody's going to gamble on an artist turning his life around.